Okay, so in order to be able to write expressions, you have to know which words mean adding, which words mean subtracting, which words mean multiplication and division. So, tell me, what is a word that means addition? Say it out loud. Plus. I heard some. I heard add.
Greater than.
Alright, greater than, kind of, yes. That one would mean more of like the, or comparing. But I heard somebody say more. I'm going to change that to more than. I heard the word increased. I'm just going to write the word by after it. What other words do you hear and you're like, oh, I need to add these two numbers together? I made $5 today and I make $10 tomorrow. What is the total? Another word you might hear, I'm going to write one more, is all together. So you guys are used to hearing all of those words mean adding. What words are you used to meaning subtraction? Minus, take away. I heard decreased. I'm going to just put the word by. Minus, I heard. Oh, I said that already. What was the other one I had heard? Difference. Less than. And then I heard somebody say subtracted. But we're not going to say just subtracted. We're going to say subtracted from. So minus, take away. Will you grab the door for me then? Minus, take away, decreased by, difference, less than, yeah, and subtracted from. And then I'm going to put little asterisks or little stars next to less than and subtracted from, because those two have a very special meaning to them. Right there's fine, bud. Yep. And we'll talk about that special meaning in just a little bit. Alright, let's go down to multiplication. What words are used to meaning multiplication? Times. Twice. Not factor. Okay. Multiply, yeah. What word is like sum and difference? Product. In FCS, when you guys are cooking, and you have to do what to a recipe? Double, or you could also triple. Those words mean to multiply. When we did problems like 15% of 30, what operation did that mean? And what word did I say? So anytime you see the word of, it means to multiply. You make $15 per hour. Per. So those are some multiplication words. What about division words? Quotient. We're going to write divided by. In FCS, we double and triple a recipe. We can also half it or third. Whether you're cutting it in half, you're cutting it into a third, you're cutting it into a fourth. And the last word we might possibly see is separate. So So those are just all words that we need to be familiar with. For being able to translate an expression into an algebraic expression. So if we go down, we have these turnaround phrases. And it says, watch out for subtraction. You know how I put those asterisks or those stars next to those two words? What two words did I do? So phrases like less than and subtracted from indicate that you need to reverse the order. And I'll explain what that means in just a minute when you see an example. It'll make a lot more sense. So, I have a feeling you guys are going to like this lesson a little bit better than the last couple of lessons because we are just doing what? We are just writing. So is there any solving? No. So it makes it a lot faster than what you guys have been working on for the past week, right? Okay? So, here's how I tell you guys to do things, and this is probably the way you guys have learned in the past. When you read, like number 1, 5 more than a number, okay? Always underline any numbers and variables. So what numbers do you see? 5. So I'm going to underline the number 5 because I have to have the number 5 in my problem. The phrase a number, what do you think that means? Variable. That's a variable. Do you think I care what variable you choose? No. No, because are we solving? No. No, so you can choose any variable you want. I could choose an X, you can choose an N, you could choose a P. I don't care what you choose. Got it? It's the same thing. And then I always have you circle the key phrase. So what's the key phrase in this problem that tells me whether I'm adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? More than. So I'm going to circle more than. That is right there, that's my work. Underlining and circling, that's my work. Does that make sense, everyone? Yes. So when I say 5 more than a number, how do you think I should write that? 5 plus a variable, whatever variable you choose. I have a question. Could I have written x plus 5? Yes, you could have. I could have had either one and I will be correct. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go to number 2. What should I be underlining? Underlining number and -2. So you underline the numbers, underline the word number typically, unless it's something else which can happen. And then you are circling, boxing in that keyword. What's the keyword? Quotient. And what does quotient mean? Divide. So the quotient of a number and -2. Who wants to tell me how they think they write it? What do you think, Kansas?
X divided by -2.
Good. Now I'm going to write it like that. Is that okay?
Yes.
That's technically how I prefer you getting used to writing it. I'd prefer you get rid of that division sign, even though, do those two things mean the same thing?
Yes.
Absolutely. I will accept both, but I want you to try to get used to the fraction way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Could I have done -2 divided by x?
No.
Could I have flipped them?
No.
So order matters, doesn't it? So notice, the way that we read it is also the way that we write it. You read it, you write it. So read it, write it. Everyone try number 3 for me. It says twice a number. Twice a number. What'd we circle, everyone?
Twice.
What'd you underline? you should underline a number, and you should underline twice. Why should I circle and underline twice? Chloe?
Twice tells you to multiply, but it also tells you by 2.
Very good. Twice tells you to multiply, and it also tells you your number is 2, which means how do I write it, everyone?
2 times x.
2 times x. Nicely done. Okay, everyone do number 4. What did we get, everyone?
I minus 7.
What, everyone?
I minus 7.
Good. Any variable you want, minus 7, because we should have underlined number, you should have underlined 7, and you should have boxed in that decreased by or circled that decreased by. Questions? Okay, let's go to the green page. We're going to skip a few, because obviously we're not going to have tons of time. But I want us to go to number 6. And what should I underline on number 6?
3.
So underline 3 in a number. And what should I circle in this one? Okay. Now, do you guys remember the last couple problems we've done? We've read it and we wrote it exactly as we read it, right?
Yes.
So how would I have written this one?
3 minus x.
We would write 3 minus x, right? Okay, but on the previous page, subtracted from, and what was the other phrase?
Less than.
Less than mean to do what?
Flip it.
Reverse, which means instead of saying 3 minus x, we would say what?
X minus 3.
X minus 3. And it must be written in that order. Because you are saying 3 subtracted from a number. You are taking 3 away from a number. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's the same with less than, okay? So we are going to skip down. Let's go down to number 13. Get a little bit trickier problems. Underline your numbers, underline the word number, because that's your variable, and circle the key words. What am I underlining, everyone?
11.
What?
11. Number 4.
So now I have 3 things that are underlined. I have 2 numbers. I have 11 and negative 4, and I have the word number, which is my variable. So if there are 3 numbers underlined, how many words do you think I need to have circled?
2.
You need to have 2. So what words should I have circled?
Less than product.
Less than in product. Now the way I like to do these problems is I set it up using order of operations. What comes first? Less than or product in order of operations? So the question is product means what?
Multiply.
So what do I want the product of? A number and negative 4. How should I write that? Negative 4 times whatever your variable is, right?
Variable times negative 4 take away.
Always put the number in front of the variable. Okay, eventually I'll teach you guys that's what's called a coefficient. Always put your number in front of the variable. Then what's the next keyword?
Less than.
And what does less than mean?
Subtract.
And what do I want to subtract?
11.
I want to subtract 11. Now, am I saying 11 minus negative 4x? Or am I saying negative 4x minus 11?
Negative 4x.
Why does the minus 11 come after the negative 4x? Because it's less than, and less than means to do what?
Subtract. Or flip it.
It means to reverse the order. Okay, everyone do number 14. What should we underline?
8, number 5.
Good. 8, a number, and 5. What do we circle, everyone?
Times in total.
Times in total. So who thinks they can tell me how to write this? How do you write it, everyone?
8
Wyatt Michaela,
plus
Avery Piakowski, and Kaden Clark.
8 times x plus 5.